It's ironic because that's basically the reverse Al-Qaeda. Like that was Al-Qaeda's strategy, like bomb the World Trade Centers and then you're going to invite a bigger response and then people are going to overthrow the regime that you don't like. So funny to see the Israelis taking a page out of Osama's book. And then also, has it struck you that like Israel is the real MAGA actor in the world? Like in the last week, they've bombed the shit out of Iran and arrested Greta Thunberg and embarrassed her and then sent her back to Sweden without her lunch money or whatever. Like I think they're the ones that are really doubling down on this. But the deeper point I wanted to say was, and this is the part that makes me nervous about what happens next, because I think we're in agreement, I think, on most of the things that we talked about. But it seems to me that Iran's back is against the wall. They have no good options. They're screwed. And to your point, they can't, even the negotiation with the United States is not something they can credibly do. To your point just now about Israel, you can't control, your dog is off the leash, like this Israeli actor that's just going to keep bombing us. Why should we make any deal? And it seems to me that if they're truly desperate and if they have any nuclear material to go with or any kind of last ditch effort, can they just really maybe they sit there and take the punishment? Maybe I'm like underestimating that as a potential choice.
It depends. I mean, yes, I hear you. I think it depends what the U.S. now offers them. I think that this was 80% domestic politics, 20% strategy, to be honest with you, on Israel's part. That's my view. I think that Benjamin Netanyahu had to do this for domestic political reasons.
Yeah, I mean, he had his far-right religious partners were talking about leaving the coalition. So you're on firm ground. You're on terra firma there.
If he loses power, who knows what happens to him. So here's what's going to happen, I think. There is a path here. It's a narrow one, but I think that if he did enough, then he can tell the Americans, like, okay, go make a deal. Like, I'll tone this down. Like, I'll be amenable now that I've done this, and maybe a couple of more days of like some targets, I'm amenable to being put back into the box. And that opens up a chance for Iran to retaliate against Israel. Nobody will care about that, by the way. Nobody, like US is not going to care. Like that already happened. We already set the threshold for caring, and it's pretty low. Like Israel is going to be under attack by Iran for the next like couple of weeks, and everyone's going to move on from that.
In part, everybody's going to move on because Iran can't seem to do anything. Like
can't seem to do anything. Yeah. So like, why not? Like last time I think they attacked Israel, they killed a Bedouin in the Negev, right? That's what happened. Like a piece of shrapnel hit poor guy in the desert. So what I would say is it really depends. If it's 80-20 domestic politics, then Benjamin Netanyahu walks away from this looking tough and concedes to the US the ground to negotiate with Iran. Like, okay, fine, I did what I need to do. I'm going to stay in power. I'm going to continue with securing Israel in my own way. You guys go deal with Iran now. But that requires, of course, restraint from Iran, and so far we've seen it. The first statement by Iran after this event happened included America. The state media also said that US is responsible. That's what happened right after the attack. The statement today by the foreign minister clearly focused on Israel. The drones that have attacked Israeli territory in retaliation, of course, it's just the first retaliation, but they could have easily diverted some to U.S. installations. They didn't. Or U.S., naval vessels in the Persian Gulf. Like, there's all sorts of things they can do. To me, the threshold for Iran, and what will tell us whether they're open for negotiations or not, is this. This is what you need to watch. If they don't attack naval vessels in the Persian Gulf that are just floating around, either American or civilian tankers, that's important. The second is Saudi energy facilities, which I highly doubt they will, but I'm just putting it out there. And then, as I said, the air base in Qatar that the U.S. shares with the Qatari military, and then the 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, in Manama. So that to me, if they attack those, I think that they're going for broke. If they don't, if this is just about Israel and maybe some symbolic attack against some American facilities in Iraq. Now, the reason I say that that's not part of the threshold is our listeners should remember that on January 3rd, 2020, the U.S. assassinated General Soleimani of the IRGC. Iran retaliated by attacking American facilities in Iraq with cruise missiles, and the US did not retaliate. In fact, Donald Trump tweeted something like, I respect this, like I know they had to retaliate. I now consider this matter over. Vice President Harris actually brought that statement up in her debates with Trump to illustrate that he was cavalier about American servicemen injuries. In fact, I went as far as to say that annual outlook that it would happen on January 21st, that the day after Trump's inauguration, he would begin conflict with Iran. And I caveated it by saying rhetorical or kinetic. But what's interesting is that for 6 months, he kind of put an egg on all of the hawks' faces. Not hawks, I'm not a hawk, but like a bear or whatever you want to call me. Like somebody, alarmists. He really kind of like took us for a ride there for 6 months, negotiating with Iran in a much more conciliatory way than he usually does. And I would say that in a way he's to blame for this, that he should have applied his 7 steps to maximum pressure. He should have been a lot harder. He should have actually done what I said and been very aggressive on January 21st. Killed someone right away, like he did with General Soleimani. Just boom, drone, off somebody. Just to send a message to Iran, hey man, I'm serious. You can't drag me along the way you did with Biden, with these negotiations. And I think that the problem is Donald Trump almost proved why his own negotiating style works. And whatever he's been doing for the past 6 months with Iran doesn't work. He lost control of these negotiations because he was a little bit too establishment, a little bit too CFR. He wasn't Donald Trump enough.